Conversational AI for recruiting is transforming recruiting operations for Fortune 500s and the largest staffing agencies in the world. Now, by adopting recruiting AI, many of these companies are embarking on a journey of digital transformation. They're becoming faster, more efficient, and more effective at recruiting in a fast-paced, dynamic job market. In fact, that's the core benefit of transitioning to an AI-powered recruiting model, also sometimes called AI-driven recruiting. Now, in this episode, I'll explain exactly what AI-powered recruiting is, how it's being used to transform the way recruiting organizations operate, and how you can get started with building an AI-powered recruiting model of your own. What is AI-powered recruiting? Well, I really believe that AI-powered recruiting is the future of recruiting operations models. At its core, being an AI-powered recruiting organization means you're strategically deploying recruiting automation through the use of AI to improve candidate experience and increase the speed and efficiency of your recruiting processes. Now, this model, the AI-powered recruiting model, it can be used by any company of any size, but we've seen it work best with Fortune 500 companies and large staffing organizations. And the reason is that the real beauty of the AI-powered recruiting model is that it creates flexibility for your recruiting operations to scale in real time in response to fluctuating market conditions and client demands. One of the big changes that an AI-powered recruiting model enables for your organization is digital transformation. So how does AI-powered recruiting really create digital transformation? Well, when you're adopting an AI-powered recruiting model, you're going to strategically deploy automation, and you're going to do that to fix inefficiencies in your hiring process. Now, there's 5 challenges that staffing agencies and corporations use this AI-powered recruiting model to solve. Now, they use it to fix and create efficiencies in high-volume recruiting, interview scheduling, database management, and talent pipeline creation. So, how do you use AI-powered recruiting for high-volume recruiting scenarios, right? So, if you are a Fortune 500 company, you're listening to this, or you're a staffing company and you're getting a lot of inbound applicants for roles, your recruiters are just not able to have conversations with all of them fast enough. So data from Glassdoor has actually shown that the average job opening can receive 250 applicants. And that was when the unemployment numbers were at all-time lows. Now that they're at all-time highs, that number is likely multiples higher. So your recruiting teams are just getting swarmed with inbound applications, and they just can't contact them fast enough. And that causes candidates to drop off, which is damaging your candidate experience. It's hurting your employer brand, and it's making it difficult for your company or your staffing agency to hire or make placements quickly. And what AI-powered recruiting as a model does is it solves this issue, because with this model, what you do is you add a pre-screening layer of AI for post-application engagement. So an example of how this works is with Maya, in the conversational AI platform that Maya is for recruiting, we use Maya, and based on requirements that our clients set for pre-screening, Maya engages applicants immediately post-apply directly in the apply path, and then surfaces the most engaged applicants that match our clients' pre-screening requirements. So deploying this model through a solution at Maya that we call Recruitment Process Automation, or Maya RPA, is a really great way to create efficiencies in high-volume recruiting. Getting right into the second area for efficiency inside the AI-powered recruiting model, right? And that is automating your interview scheduling. So what we've found in working with the largest brands in the world and the biggest staffing agencies in the world is that it's surprisingly common for recruiters, even there, to spend as much as 60 to 80% of their time on interview scheduling communications tasks. And that means they're spending 60 to 80% of their working hours scrolling through text message conversations, scrolling through emails, trying to find threads, and suggesting times getting denied times, and getting in this horrible back and forth that's really gumming up your hiring process and slowing things down. Now, this time is much better spent in conversations with candidates or doing things to build your employer brand or engaging with hiring managers. Now, what you can do with conversational AI, specifically a conversational AI platform for recruiting like Maya, is you can automate your interview scheduling. And Maya can go in, and not only does it automate interview scheduling directly on your recruiters' calendars, but what it also does is it handles rescheduling, it handles cancellations, and it handles reminders as well. So it really takes that entire interview scheduling mess off your recruiter's hands, and it gives them 60 to 80% of the time in their work days that they're spending on this stuff back. And what we found in our client data is that it makes recruiting teams 144% more productive. And that productivity is measured by time spent engaging with qualified candidates, time spent developing the employer brand, and time spent engaging and strategizing with hiring managers. So that's the second way that AI powered recruiting as a model can totally transform the way your recruiting organization operates. The third way to adopt the AI powered recruiting model, all right, and that is using it in passive candidate database management. And the way you create efficiency here is using AI for recruiting to manage your passive candidate database communications. So I don't know how many candidates you have in your database, but many of our clients at Maya have upwards of hundreds of thousands of candidates, and sometimes in the world's largest brands and staffing agencies, even millions of candidates are in their database. But the problem is that most of these candidates are kind of worthless from a data perspective. I mean, I'm sure they're great workers. I'm not speaking to that. But from a data perspective, they're they're useless as profiles because they're really difficult to engage because the data you have on them is it's wildly out of date because it's impossible to have your recruiters reach out to every single one of your candidates, especially if there's millions of them, periodically have those one-to-one conversations that need to be had and update their information. So this is where conversational AI platforms for recruiting, like Maya, for example, can create efficiency. So with Maya, our customers use Maya to perform passive candidate database outreach for profile refresh. And how this works is Maya reaches out to the candidates in your database. It engages them in a conversation, a really general conversation about where they are, what they're interested in, where they're living, things like that. It gathers that information about them, and then it updates that information directly in the candidate profile in your ATS. So using this to engage your passive candidate database can really refresh the engagement level for millions and millions of candidates that are already in your database. Candidates that you've spent likely hundreds or thousands of dollars per candidate to even acquire. So this is a really great way to add efficiency to your recruiting process. Now, the fourth way that you can add efficiency through the AI powered recruiting process is in using conversational AI to create talent pipelines, right? So, right now, let's say you get a job rec and you give it to your recruiting teams, they're going to have to start pulling candidates from your database and reaching out to them. And it could take, for example, in one of our customers, it took them a team of 11 full time recruiters 5 days, or I believe it was seven full time recruiters, excuse me, 5 days to reach out and complete basic outreach to 1,000 candidates, right? But when they used Maya, Maya was able to complete that same outreach in 11 minutes with a significantly higher engagement rate, right? And this solution is called Maya job requisition specific outreach. And unlike the general conversation that Maya would have with profile refresh outreach, job rec specific outreach is a really targeted specific conversation that Maya is having to determine eligibility, interest, and engagement about a specific role or set of roles. And this has been shown to be highly, highly effective in our client base. Maya is regularly getting upwards of 50% engagement rates in these outreach conversations, and it's scheduling and reactivating significant percentages and portions of the candidates that you're reaching out to. So what you can do with this is you can create candidate pipeline or talent pipelines at will, at the drop of a hat, immediately when you get the rec. Upload a list, use conversational AI to reach out to them. Within 11 minutes, you will have interview appointments scheduled directly on your recruiters' calendars. That's how powerful conversational AI can be. That's how powerful AI-driven recruiting processes can be. That's how powerful AI-powered recruiting processes can be. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Conversation. If you got value out of listening to this episode and learn a bit more about how AI-powered recruiting as a model can create efficiencies and speed and incredible candidate experience for your business, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. And if you're listening on iTunes, leave us a review. If you like the podcast, write a comment, leave us a 4-star review, leave us a 5-star review. I hope you got value from this again, and I'll see you next time on The Conversation.